haven't won the war, but you won a battle.
Okay, we're good to go, guys.
Okay.
So Glenn, you get your second term here in Medicine Hat-Cardston-Warner with over 80% of the votes here in the riding. Just thoughts about returning to Ottawa once again.
I mean, it's a real honor to serve the constituents of this riding. I want to take the opportunity to thank the voters of Medicine Hat-Cardston-Warner for putting their trust in me again. I wanted to thank my team of the team around me of the close-knit campaign team that put this together, and then we had hundreds of volunteers that helped us out over the course of the last 40+ days. So kudos goes to them. I also I want to thank my wife. She's here somewhere, for hanging in there with me over this difficult time, and I'm excited. I'm watching nationally. I'm not seeing the numbers that I would have liked to see nationally just yet, but I don't think the fat lady's singing just yet, so we'll have to kind of wait and see.
What do you have to say to the people of Medicine Hat-Cardston-Warner?
Well, first of all, thank you. Thank you for putting their trust in me again to represent them. It's an honor to represent them in Ottawa. I look forward to doing so. We have a lot of things that aren't finished that we need to continue to work toward.
How do you think the campaigning went in the last 40 days?
Great. We started off really strong. We put a lot of effort into the front end, and then we kind of we stayed flatlined for a while in the middle. And the last 4 or 5 days, the team, Pat, the campaign manager, has done an incredible job of coordinating our volunteers so that we can get the vote out. We had a really great get out the vote today, and we door knocked up until Saturday, and then we door knocked again today. We had teams of people out today making sure that our supporters got to the polls, and I was excited about that. I joined with them doing that, and it was great. When you look at an overall campaign, there's a lot of moving pieces, a lot of moving parts to it, and I think all in all, we had a lot of volunteers that put in a tremendous amount of hours. Some of our volunteers did, and you can never thank them enough, because it's really the campaign is about the people, and the grassroots here really stepped up, and they really came to participate in this, and it made a difference for them. Our door knocking teams were so focused on explaining to our constituents why this election is important to them. And they did a great job of that, and because everyone had a story, everyone was concerned about what it meant for their family, and so this was personal for all of them, and I was really pleased with that.
So Glenn, if what we're seeing at the moment, that there's a Liberal minority, if that does pan out, do you have a strategy in terms for yourself, in terms of going back as an MP, but again in an opposition role?
Well, I mean, obviously, with the numbers that are still there, they haven't moved a lot in the last little bit. I'm disappointed in the numbers that I see. But, going to Ottawa, I'll do like we did last time. You build relationships with whoever is in government, whoever has ministries that impact things in your riding and projects in your riding, and you advocate for the things that matter to the people here. And so I will continue to do that like I did last time. I'll continue to stand up for the issues that matter to Canadians and to the people in my riding, and that's why they've elected me again to do it. I intend to do that to the best of my ability.
With this election, a lot of people said it was prime for the taking for the Conservatives with SNC and obviously the blackface scandal with Justin Trudeau. Do you feel the leadership was there from Andrew Scheer, and are you surprised by the results today?
Well, I know Andrew very well. I'm very pleased with him as a person, with him as a leader. I'm disappointed, and I guess I'll put it just to you bluntly. I don't know what it's going to take. I don't know what it would take for Canadians to see a leader that thumbed his nose at the rule of law, that corruption was the way of life, and we haven't seen the end of SNC, the Davie Shipyard, with that whole mess. There's a lot of stench going on, and I don't know what it would take for Canadians to see that leadership model doesn't work. He has no leadership. He has no moral authority to run this country. And quite frankly, I'm surprised at the spending and the deficits that people seem to be okay with. Personally, I'm shocked. I'm shocked that Canadians would have that short of a memory and can be duped again by someone who promises the world but can't deliver nothing. Sorry. He legalized marijuana. Good for him.
Do you think then that it's those issues that came up early in the campaign, and then as we went along, they just faded from people's minds?
You know, I'm still a rookie at the whole political game, and if you listen to people who've been in this business for a while, the first thing they tell you is sometimes voters can be fickle. And you know, even though we had strong support here in Medicine Hat, I was still surprised that people who, when they answered the door, you know, the odd one, who they weren't sure yet. And that's on Saturday. That's on Friday before the election on Monday. And they weren't sure who they're going to vote for yet. I think across the country that, that happens a lot. People sometimes don't make a decision. If you listen to the pundits who've done research, people sometimes don't know who they're going to vote for until they actually get to go vote. That's alarming to me. It's alarming to me. Look at the platforms. Look at the history. Make an informed decision. And I, unfortunately, I think tonight, based on the numbers that again are a little flat still, I'm not sure how much informed decision people made across the country.
Do you think that well, not locally, but on a national level, the campaign was divisive and that may have turned some people off?
Of course it was. The first shot across the bow came from Trudeau. And, he said it's going to be a nasty campaign, and I guess he followed through with his words, which is probably one of the few things he's ever kept his word about. But I mean, at the doors in our riding, people were saying, I wish people would, I wish the leaders and the parties would focus on the issues and not the divisiveness. And that's exactly, I think the Liberals played this to their advantage. They played the divisive politics from day one. They confused and continue to lie to the voters. And, we'll see at the end of the night how things all play out.
There have been, rumors in the past week or so, especially about a possible coalition between the NDP and the Liberal government. If that does in fact happen over the next few days, what will be the plan of action for you guys in the Conservative Party?
Well, I certainly can't speak on behalf of our party with respect to how that'll happen, but I can tell you what's going to happen for Canadians. You thought your deficits were high with under just a Liberal majority government? You wait. The spending will be ridiculous. The deficits will be larger than we can ever imagine. And the programs that we have come to depend on as Canadians, on health transfers, on social transfers across this nation, will be in jeopardy. You can only sustain so much. The business community and the tax base can only pay so much. And there comes a time when people are going to say, we have nothing more left to give. I mean, people need to remember, when you have a socialist-leaning individual or parties like Liberals and NDP, government can't give you anything they haven't taken from you first. So where are they going to take it from? If people don't have anything more to give, where are they going to get it from? I don't know. The only option is to stop spending. And I don't see that happening anytime soon.
So does a demographic come into play here? We've seen a voter base where the older people who were very conservative in terms of budgeting and living within their means, are we now seeing a younger voter base where that is not as important?
A great question, Julian. I haven't seen the demographics tied to the vote base yet. And I think, in the coming days, we're going to see a lot of analysis on this election. We're going to see a lot of people who are going to be, deciphering the numbers and saying, okay, well, this demographic voted this way, and this demographic predominantly voted this way, and it's too early to make any assessments on my part. But I think it'll be interesting to see how that actually does play out.
Rural issues, Glenn. What Conservative Party will continue to bring to Ottawa, despite the outcome here?
Well, locally, obviously, we need to ensure that our agricultural base has access to trade markets. The China issue, the trade dispute with India and Italy and Saudi. We have a lot of grain and cattle concerns. We need to get that dealt with. Connectivity. Rural parts of Alberta and rural parts of all of Canada, but certainly in my riding, in this riding, there's big business that rely on high-speed internet, and we don't have it. And one project that was in this riding that I advocated for was asking for a chunk of money out of the $500 million that the Liberals had promised for connectivity, and they got a couple $100,000. Well, that didn't do them what they needed to be done. It was a start, but it was 10% of what they actually needed. And so, that's unfortunate. So we're going to have to certainly work on that. There's the Port Wild Horse is still an issue that I've been dealing with Goodale on for 3 years on at least looking at some options there, working with different economic groups from the region to expand the border hours potentially. Even the proposal that was made was, well, let's get the border hours to what they will operate in the summertime. Let's see whether that improves traffic. Let's have them look at commercial access. Right now, they have limited commercial ability to do trade through Wild Horse, and you look at a lot of industry, making the extra route to Coots, which is the only 24-hour crossing in our riding and the only commercial crossing in our riding in Alberta. It limits trade, and I think that's something we need to work toward. As you remember in our platform, we also talked about eliminating some of the provincial barriers we had, and those provincial barriers impact a lot of our rural ridings and our rural commerce. So we'll definitely need to work toward that and keep that at the forefront as well.
By the way, Glenn, you're no longer a rookie MP. This is the second term.
Well, that's true, but I suppose that's true, Warren. That means you're saying I'm getting old at this. I still. I'm not a political fan. I'm not a junkie of politics. And quite frankly, I don't like politics. I like people. I like trying to add value to people's lives. I like trying to do things that would make life better for them. And that's why I'm doing this. It's not about me. It's not for me. It's to try and help people in this riding achieve something that maybe we couldn't before, to help them get ahead, which was what our campaign slogan was, and certainly add value to make their life better. And so that's why I'm doing this. All the there's a lot of people that know a lot about politics, a lot more than I do, and they follow a lot closer than I do. I just like representing the people here and doing what I can as best as I can to represent the issues that matter to them.
Well, the voters have spoken to you.
Yeah, they have. I can't see the final numbers right at the moment. Do you have? I don't know if anybody got those numbers.
The numbers on nationally have been changing while we've been talking.
Oh yeah. Well,
So
they're still subject to change, Julia. All right.
Thank you. Thank you. Could I get a photo of you and Sue together?
Sure. Yeah. Let me find Sue.